Greetings everyone, this is another one of my late night off the cuff videos about my book Visaria Online and its launch. Things have gone a bit awry the last week and a bit. My book was basically caught up in the recent page reads crackdown that Amazon's doing on scammers, and like a lot of other Litrpg writers, my book was hit and I lost about 50,000 of my page reads, not just on Visaria Online but all my books. I've had to take some drastic measures over the last week, a lot like the other authors hit by it, and all my books have now been removed from Kindle Unlimited, and I've taken them wide to the other online stores for books. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, basically on I believe it was the 9th of May, a lot of authors got a message from Amazon saying that their page reads had been reduced, and that because they were scammed page readers, and basically that our accounts are under threat because, or implying that we'd use some sort of service that gave us page reads. I, like pretty much every other author I've seen on Facebook, has said we haven't used anything that's against Amazon's terms of service. Many of us are only just using AMS ads, or even nothing at all, some of them. So most of these authors, or all the ones I've seen have been hit, are innocent, basically. I mean, I trust that they're innocent. I know that I have done nothing wrong, that I did nothing to break Amazon's terms of service. I detailed in my videos everything I was doing to promote my book, and all of that is well within Amazon's terms of service. Mostly it was just AMS ads, basically, so, and just linking it on my website. I sent a newsletter out, that type of stuff. Anyway, as far as I can tell, and as far as other authors that can tell that have been talking about this, the scammers, basically someone's paid scammers to read their book for page reads, and to cover their tracks, the scammers read innocent people's books, maybe ones that are linked to them through AMS ads, we're not exactly sure, and so a lot of innocent authors have been caught up in this. Now, for me, like I assume most authors, the money loss is whatever. I mean, it's upsetting to see your income go down, but that's not the end of the world. The biggest upsetting thing to me is the threat to the account. I mean, we've only just been warned so far, although some people have been terminated, because this happened last month, back in April, and a lot of authors, back in April, early April, a lot of authors chose to ignore the warning and just thought it'd go away because they had done nothing wrong, and then they got hit a second time and terminated, though I've heard most of them got their accounts back. As this has happened 2 months in a row, and I mean there were horror stories before this really with KU, but they seem pretty random and rare compared to the amount of people using them. But now obviously things have changed a bit, and maybe next month we're going to be going through the same thing around June 9th to 12th roughly. So yeah, maybe this is the future of KU. A lot of innocent people are going to be hurt as Amazon cracks down on scammers, as they should. It's just unfortunate that innocent people like me and all my a lot of other Litrpg writers, and I'm sure a lot of other writers in other genres too, were hit. So as I basically said earlier, I took all my books out of KU. I did it to preserve my account. I don't want to be hit again by this, because I don't want to have my account terminated. I know it's a lot of stress and anxiety to try to get it back, and I think as is, people that have got their accounts back have been warned further that basically any more infringements or whatever, their account's going to be immediately terminated. So I'd rather not be on such thin ice. But the problem is my book, Visaria Online, and my other books have got page reads for May now. Only my April page reads were cut when Amazon took the 50,000 page reads from me. So now I'm worried that in come June, they're going to look at my May page reads and decide that there's some scammed page readers in there too, and they're going to hit me again and terminate my account. And I will get it back. People have spoken to Amazon, and they said to contact them if this happens to you, and you'll get your account back. But the problem is I live in Australia, and I can imagine it's just going to be a lot more difficult to get my account back if I have to contact American customer service via the phone or whatever. Plus also it's just a lot of stress and anxiety I could do without, and yeah, the whole thing seems like a big bother. And it's also meant that it's been hard to track how profitable my book is. It was profitable, and I mean it probably still is, but I mean I'm a bit more unsure of it now that Amazon's probably going to hit me again for page reads, so I kind of don't want to make a ballpark figure of my profit. I mean, even with sales alone of the book, it should break even, but I'd hoped the page reads money would pay for the rest of the series, so that might not happen yet, so I'll keep everyone updated on how much the book makes, assuming I survive next month, basically. Now, how I feel about it is, it's just been very depressing, and it's definitely been a hard week, stressful to an extent. Um, just pulling out of KU as a pretty new author. I've only been doing this just over 6 months now. Going wide so soon without really much of an audience is difficult, and the problem is Litrpg is not really big. I mean, it's mainly a KU thing. And even my Lost Son books, they never really took off, and I don't hold out hopes they're going to take off on the wide stores, and the series is unfinished. I mean, I was really happy that I had a series take off in Visaria Online, and that I didn't end up with 2 failed series like I mentioned in an earlier video. That was one of my bigger worries. But now I kind of have a series like Visaria Online is still selling, and it's sold well, and it's still done really well, but I mean, it's reached its 30-day cliff today as I make this video on May 19th. Yeah, May 19th. So I'm a bit worried for its future, sort of thing. I'm sure it'll pick up a bit once I release book 3 and 4, but without KU, I mean, KU was probably 50 to 60% of the book's income. It's just going to be so much harder to get it anywhere and get it up in the ranks, basically. So I'm kind of dreading its future, but I don't want to have 2 unfinished series under my belt, so I am going to finish it. It's just having this happen has made things a lot harder, I guess. I'm going to do my best on the wide stores to get it to take off, and my Lost Son series is to take off. If neither of them do, I guess I'll write books that are more aimed at a wide audience. I'll have to look into more detail of what sort of books do well wide that aren't things like romance and erotica, because I don't really have any desire to write them. So I imagine I've got a long road ahead of me, and you know, the easy road, I mean, just because I don't want to risk my account. I mean, I could put my books back in KU, but I just don't see it as worth the risk. That, you know, I'll be hit again and again, basically, and lose my account permanently, as a couple of people have, because they got hit 3 times. So I don't want to risk that. So my books are going to stay wide, and I'm going to try to make it work. About the worst thing in all this whole thing is, other than it happening to us to begin with, is a few authors have blamed us for this. Like, obviously the people that got hit did something wrong, otherwise Amazon wouldn't have done anything to us. I mean, not only is that wrong, because as far as I know, all the other authors, I know I didn't do anything wrong. I can't necessarily speak for them, but I trust them. I mean, why would someone risk their account over 1,000 page reads or something like that? Some people are only hit for 100 page reads or something. Like, who would risk their account over such a minimal amount of money? Like, that'd be dumb. A lot of people, like most of the people hit, I assume, want to be full-time writers. They want to be writing in 10 years' time and stuff like that. Why would you risk your account over such a small amount? I mean, that's just silly, blaming the people that were hit. I mean, obviously a lot of innocent people have been hit, me included, so yeah, it just seems a dumb thing to accuse us of, to risk our entire future as full-time writers just to get a few extra page reads that might make us, what, $50 or something at the most? Yeah, sorry. But I've been thankful that most people that have commented on it that weren't hit have been very supportive, so that's been great, that the amount of support out there, and actually other authors telling us how to go wide and what we should do and stuff like that. May Sage was a good one, standing up for us and telling people how to go wide. There's one interesting thing about going wide with Litrpg. There's very few Litrpg books on places like Kobo. A lot of the ones I saw there were from Russian authors that have been translated to English, and not all of them had the best covers either. So, I mean, that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. Good thing that I'm not competing with so many other people as KU or Amazon, but a bad thing that obviously a lot of people don't think there's a market for Litrpg wide. So again, I guess I'll keep everyone updated on how it goes and how my Lost Son books go as well, for that matter. So for right now, I'm a bit disheartened with my whole writing business, and knowing that taking my book out of KU within its first month has pretty much gimped how much I'll earn from it. And into the future, it's probably, at least the foreseeable future, reduced how much income I can make from my books, basically, and it's going to make things so much tougher. Maybe in the long run, I hope to make more money off the wide stores and have an audience there, but in the short term, it's definitely hurt me, and I was hoping to break even on my book business by using Visaria Online and hopefully selling enough copies to break even on my Lost Son books, which cost me thousands. So that's going to be a lot longer process now. By the time all's said and done and the money's counted, I'm sure maybe 1/5 of my cost of production for my books will have been paid back with Visaria Online. Once I get paid out in July, I think it is. So at least that's a start. Most businesses don't break even within the first year, and yeah. But anyway, I was really, really happy with Visaria Online, and I feel cheated a bit that I got hit with something and I did nothing wrong. It was completely out of the blue for me, and it's just made my writing life a lot harder. As you know, maybe if you watched the last videos, I was really excited and had high hopes. But I've tried not to let myself get too crushed. You know, I am writing again. It took me a few days to get back into the writing, but I am writing again, and hopeful I can make it wide and, you know, build from this, basically. I'll do my best to make it work. Otherwise, I'm not going to give up, because, yeah, you know, I'm in my mid-30s now, and writing and being an author is part of my identity. So, yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for listening. Take care.